We're going to be speaking with Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer. We want to bring him onto the phone line. Congressman, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure, Tony. How you doing?
I'm good. Of course, it's a holiday season, and it's very busy here at the lake. There's a lot of happy people.
Yeah, I get around the lake a lot, and it's been very busy. A lot of shoppers out, a lot of activity, considering that most of the stuff is around the water, but yet there seems to be lots of other activity. And the other day I saw a guy, it was 50 degrees outside, and he was skiing behind the boat. I thought, oh, my Lord. But, yeah, there's still a lot of activity going on.
He's younger than us, sir. He's younger. I don't have the blood for that anymore. And it's, no. Hey, the drones. What in the heck's going on?
Oh, that's a great question. We're getting conflicting information there. I have a good colleague of mine that says it's from an Iranian ship that sets offshore, and he just swears that's what's going on, and the government swears that it's not. It's just some military drones, that they're individual drones that are just out doing some stuff. And so I think, from my standpoint, I think we're still, in a point where we're still going to have to gather information, see what's going on. But I think we're in a new phase now of surveillance and warfare. Quite frankly, you see this over in Ukraine, where drones are being used and are part now of a war plan. They're part of a surveillance plan. And so I know whenever we were shooting some of our commercials when I was running for office last couple times, where they used a drone to be able to do some B-roll to shoot scenes around my farm and some of the stuff that was going on. So, they become part of our fabric of our society by the way we do business, and it's part of surveillance and part of warfare as well. So in this situation, there's still some investigation going on as to really what's going on. But at this point, I don't know any more than what you know from the media reports, other than my colleague just swears that it's something else. But I don't know.
Congressman, I have tremendous respect for you, but you are a United States Congressman. If you don't know, who does?
Well, that's the problem. We can ask questions, and this administration will not give us the information. All you have to do is just look at what goes on with the Oversight Committee, and I can tell you from the committee that I serve on, it is very difficult to get information out of this administration. I can tell you from classified briefings I get. I'll be sitting on the China Select Committee. They're supposed to classified briefings. We go in there and we ask questions. They won't answer the questions. I said, wait a minute. We're cleared to hear certain information. This is a classified briefing, and we ask the question. This is where you're supposed to tell us this information. This is the purpose of this little briefing. Well, can't give it to you. It's like, So this administration continues to hide and obfuscate a lot of facts and truths that's going on, and as a result, it's like pulling teeth. You have to take them to court. You have to get court orders to be able to get them to release information, release paperwork, and that takes time and it takes money. And by the time you get this done, they've managed to sneak some of the stuff around. So it's really difficult to get this administration to work with you. Hopefully the Trump administration comes in there and we can get the paperwork that we can use to do the kind of oversight and investigate these different kind of occurrences. And, in this situation, you can bring one of the and then get them in a classified briefing if you want to, but get them into a classified briefing and bring in the military guys and say, okay, what the hell is going on? What is going on, guys? This could be a very significant situation from the standpoint of the safety and security of our country. This is my purpose as a congressman, to provide oversight over this, and I need this information to be able to help our country. But the information only goes one way with this administration, and it's very, very frustrating.
Do you believe they know?
Listen to Jamie Comer, and he'll tell you he's bad as hell.
Oh yeah, he's. Do you believe they know what the drone is at this point? What they are?
That's a great question. This is about the most inept military group I've ever seen in my life. In the 16 years I've been there, none of the military is on top of everything. But this group, either they don't know, or they're so incompetent that they can't figure it out. It is just frustrating as all get out to work with them from the standpoint that you get almost no information out, and we ask the question just like you did, do you really know? have you investigated to the point where you actually know what's going on? And they really have a completely different view of national security. I've been working with them and been after them to try and do something about getting ready for sanctions to be put on China. I think we've talked about this before.
Yes.
When they go into Taiwan. And I've worked with and I asked this question of Secretary Yellen over and over when she appears in front of our committee. Are you working with our allies to begin to put sanctions in place and any sort of other activities that can get China and their economy and their whole system in the box whenever they go into Taiwan and make it hurt? Because you can't wait 3 or 4 months like they did with Russia when they went into Ukraine. And it was like a deer in the headlight look when working with them before. And so the last time she was in, yes, we've started to put a working group together, and we're starting to work on putting a plan together and work with our allies. So, okay, finally. But my Lord, it took a year and a half to get to that. I mean, you can't do that. That war will be over with in 2 or 3 weeks, and you can't take 2 or 3 months.
I'm just going to ask you point blank. What does this administration what do they do all day? They don't seem to be engaged. They don't seem to be. They get on national television, and Admiral gets on there and says, "We don't know what these drones are, but we don't think they're here to harm us." Now that doesn't do a lot to get people calm. That doesn't do a lot to reassure people that they're safe. I mean, and this is not the first time that this administration has been caught not being aware of what's going on and not having a plan of attack.
Well, I mean, Tony, we can point to a number of times. I mean, you can look at the balloon that went over our country, let it go across the entire country, and when they shot it down, they found out that, yes, it was a Chinese spy balloon. What about the Afghanistan withdrawal? I mean, I talked to a gentleman who was in the military at the time and put the plan in place to get the military out of Afghanistan in an orderly fashion. Mm-hmm. And he said the plan was sitting there. They ignored the plan. Biden and his generals didn't take the plan seriously. They just left it on the back of the desk and did their own thing. And as a result, we wound up with a horrible, horrible way of getting out of there. Left billions of dollars worth of equipment there. Wound up losing 13 people as a result of that.
Yes.
It was a fiasco. Mm-hmm. But these people have no idea how to do anything, Tony. It's amazing. They can get up in the morning and find their way to work. I take that back. They don't work. All about, over two-thirds of them don't show up to work every day.
Yeah, so, we've either had employees or people we worked with that you just sit around and all they do is talk all day and they don't get anything done. I'm starting to wonder if that is this administration.
No, that's exactly what this administration does. They do nothing. I mean, I sat on the Small Business Committee, and they admitted to us in committee one day, and I was trying to get some information out of her, and she said, "Well, 90% of the people do not work they work from home. They don't show up at work every day. They work from home." And so they were wanting to get another, several thousand people to be able to collect some of this the Emergency Disaster Loan Program that's got about $70 billion worth of debt that needs to be collected, and they want to hire some people to do that. And I said, well, they're going to work from home, or they're going to work in the office. Mm-hmm. So they're going to work from home. I'm not going to support that. I'm not going to support it anyway. But and so it took me 5 minutes to finally get her to admit, yeah, they're going to work in the office. And it's like, really, why couldn't you just say yes, they're going to work in the office? But it took 5 minutes worth of harassing her to be able to get her to say that. Yeah. I mean, these people are insufferable when it comes to trying to work with you. They obfuscate all the truth, all the facts, and expect you just to take their word for it and go on. And they have a completely different agenda, and the agenda is not in the best interest, in my judgment anyway, for what's good for our country.
One of the things that I believe proves my point is the fact that Donald Trump, the president-elect, traditionally the president-elect, goes to Washington, he gets his office space, and he starts putting his team together, which, of course, the president-elect is doing. But this president-elect is going around the world at this time. There is a tremendous vacuum in the world when it comes to leadership right now in this administration.
Oh, you're exactly right. I mean, this administration has taken 2 or 3 steps back when it comes to leadership. They have allowed the rest of the world to fill that vacuum, and you see what happens. You see the kind of actions that are taken around the world in different parts of it. Also, in certain countries that were kind of setting back on their heels are now fighting each other. They're getting, Russia jumps up. You have China jumping up. You got, North Korea playing in all this. I mean, you go around the world and see all sorts of hot spots now that weren't there whenever Trump was there, and you can see the major players in the world are coming to him now.
Yes.
As well as him going to them and coming, hey, we need to work with you, because they know, and this is the point I always make to people, because they'll say, well, nobody in the world likes Trump. He's going to do this, do that. I said, well, you know what? I'm glad about that. Because you know what? That means they respect him. And I don't care whether they like him or not, but at the end of the day, they respect him. And when he says something, he means it. And as a result of that, they respect his word, and they're going to act on it. So therefore, you see these people coming to him at Mar-a-Lago and reacting to him. When he told Trudeau, the Canadian Prime Minister, that he needs to be the governor instead of the Prime Minister of Canada, wow, that should have sent a shockwave through the entire world saying, hey, you know what? You guys better wake up, because we're not going to put up with your crap. And so he is somebody who doesn't care whether you like him or not. But at the end of the day, you will respect him because you know he's a man of action. He says something, he means it, and he will act on that if you test him. And that's the kind of president that people are looking for. That's the kind of leadership that we need. And that's the kind of person we want to settle some of this nonsense going on around the world down. And I think the president will do that if you give him enough time to get the job done.
Goes to France, meets with Macron. I mean, these are not get-to-know-you tours. They are talking about substantive issues, which if I were the outgoing president, I would be upset about these meetings, but nobody seems to care.
Well, we haven't really had a president for a long time that actually did his job. I mean, the president, Biden, was not really there mentally to be able to interact with the leaders around the world. I mean, he didn't really come on forcefully. I mean, if you remember, and we've talked about this, I believe, before, last year this time, he met with President Xi in San Francisco. And President Xi, after the meeting for the next 2 weeks, all he talked about was going into Taiwan. Yeah,
Yes.
He would never have done that. Never have done that if President Trump had met with him. If he'd have gone out and said, we're going to take over Taiwan, it's part of our culture and our country. There's just a bunch of rebels that are sitting on that island. We're going to take them all over. Whoa. President Trump would have said, no, you're not. Mm-hmm. Don't you dare touch those guys. But Biden says nothing, absolutely nothing, and he gets away with it. And so this is what's going on for the last 2 or 3, 4 years, actually, is nothing. He's just an empty suit when it comes to international affairs. He has always been an empty suit. If you go back and look at his record as a senator, he served on some of the foreign relations and international and committees that deal with international military affairs. He's never been a stalwart. He's always been a goody two-shoes from the standpoint of trying to give away too much so they can look good and come out with just an agreement, just to have an agreement. And I always tell people that one of the greatest things Ronald Reagan ever did was something he didn't do. And he didn't sign the peace agreement at Reykjavik, which would have given away our Star Wars and probably our country in the process. Yes. He got up, walked away from it, took tremendous heat from the rest of the world because he didn't want to sign an agreement that was going to hurt us. Now, these characters, going back to Obama as well as Biden, they don't care. They just want to come out with a piece of paper to make themselves look good. They don't care what it does, like the nuclear agreement that Obama signed. That was a disaster. That was a joke. Yes. You empowered Iran when you did that. And so these guys don't care about really getting something substantive done and securing peace and security in the world. They just want to make themselves look good for history and posterity for the moment.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break.
Amazing.
We're going to come back with Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer.
Travel time.
We're speaking with Congressman Blaine Luetkemeyer. We want to bring him back onto the phone line. Thank you for holding, sir.
Yep, no problem.
I want to switch gears with you because we don't have a lot of time left. The assassination of Brian Thompson, the murder, assassination, whatever you choose to call it. Number one, I believe it reveals two things. Number one, it shows the mindset that many people are saying this needed to happen. This is what happens. People are frustrated. It doesn't give you the right to go out and murder people, but that is the mindset of a significant population. And then number two, I think it exposes where we truly are in healthcare in this country right now. hospitals, doctors in rural areas, not only in the state of Missouri, but across the country, not good. Access to health care is very difficult in sometimes. And I'm just talking about people that have insurance, people that have the ability to pay, can't get insurance. And then, of course, what is the responsibility to citizens that just need health care?
No, you're spot on. This is one of the questions I get all the time, and it's a frustrating question to answer because we're not doing a very good job of solving the problem. It's a really complicated problem from the standpoint that how do you price insurance so that people can afford it and you can actually pay for the services, especially whenever the services continue to skyrocket, to evolve technically, new equipment, new procedures, and it's a new system, basically sometimes of taking care of people. You see that the healthcare system itself is stretched. I mean, I've lost 2 or 3 hospitals, small hospitals in my district over the last 5 or 6 years. I've got a couple more that are in deep trouble. The hospital systems and doctors are under pressure too. The whole system is about ready to implode if we don't figure out how to make it function in a way that it can work. And part of the problem goes. It's really complex. Everybody's probably to blame here, Congress included. But you look at CMS. That's the group that actually makes the payments on the Medicare side, and they refuse to make changes that are substantive enough and are something that can actually work to curtail expenses and continue to provide better, if not as good at, if not better, health care. And I'll give you an example. If somebody is over 65, has Medicare, and you have an infection in your body, and and the doctor wants to treat it with a port, he sticks something in your vein, and you put your medication in, your antibiotics in through the port. Well, CMS says you have to go to a nursing home for 2 weeks to do that. Well, if the person is in good health, ambulatory, why not have a home health care nurse go in and do that on a daily basis and save $200 or $300 a day? I mean, these are easy fixes to a system that needs a whole lot of fixes. But I mean, that's just one example of stuff. And you can go through there, and I'm sure everybody listening this morning has got an experience with that's over 65 has got an experience with the CMS payment system. That is, it's antiquated, it's a disaster, and it's very inefficient, and it just wastes money left and right. So there's ways to make the system work better and more efficiently and just in that section. And we're going to have to do that, otherwise Medicare is going to go broke. And so the whole system itself is in trouble. The doctors are becoming employees instead of being able to have their own practices. And that's not good because suddenly there's not the incentive there sometimes to be able to treat people and keep your practice going in a professional way. So the whole system is, and we haven't even talked about drugs yet. That's a whole other issue as well.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It truly is a situation that's a mess, and most people think there's big money in medicine. You know what? They are making, and they should. They're very trained, well-trained people. But even big hospitals, as I talked to an official in a large hospital in your district, our district, said we're losing money right now. We're living off money that we made 10 years ago. As healthcare is not in a good situation, access is tough to get, but it certainly is. Congressman retiring, this is our last interview today. I want to thank you for all you've done for the district.
Well, thank you, Tony. It's been an honor to serve, and we're it's been a great 16 years. We've looked back on the accomplishments of what we've been able to do and the people we've been able to touch and I think make a difference in their lives. And we had a little reception the other night for some of my old staff members as well as my current staff members. And I told them, I said, look, you guys, over the years that we've been working for the people of our district in the state of Missouri, we've made a difference in a lot of lives. And I think you can go home at night and look yourself in the mirror and be proud of the fact that you did make a difference in the lives of the people that we served. And that's our purpose. That's our purpose, to be their liaison between them and their government and to help them with their problems. And in doing that, we can make a difference in their lives. And it's just been a great experience for me. Still love the job, still like to be there, but there comes a point in time whenever You just need to step up and walk away. And at my age, I think it's time for me to do that. Be able to then enjoy my family, and instead of going to getting up and then going to barbecues and dinners, political side, I get to go to barbecues, dinners with my family now. So
Absolutely.
I think that's more important.
Thank you so much, sir.
It's been an honor. Thank you, Tony, for all your help and working with you over these last several years. Take care.
I do appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Blaine Luetkemeyer, retiring congressman of the 3rd District, and I want to thank him for spending the time with us each month.